We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the session. We'll get started in about 1 minute. Okay. All right, so welcome everyone. We are CERTL and we are working on Work Smarter, Not Harder with Canvas. We really want people to get some concrete ideas. I'm Dr. Peggy Symingson, Interim Director for CERTL, and I'm joined by Nikisha Brown, helping behind the scenes, Dr. Shelley Wigley, faculty member and CERTL Assistant Director for the summer, and Dr. Beth Fleener from CERTL, and Beth also works with grad students. And we are also joined by Joseph Rutledge from Center for Distance Ed, who many of you know. So let's get started with Work Smarter, Not Harder. There is an icebreaker in the chat. Share, tell us what department you're in and if you want to add your role, and then share how you save time using Canvas and teach smarter, not harder. So just throw that in the chat over the next couple minutes. There's no deadline on that. Just throw your answer in the chat. So our agenda is we want you to develop some concrete ideas to use in your courses for summer or fall. And if we could go back to the agenda, Canvas for efficiency, instructional supports, assignments. That's one of the big ones. We spend a lot of time developing assignments. And then Joseph's going to talk about all of our favorite topic is grading. And so what can you do to kind of speed up grading? What can you do to make it, so that you're not grading every single thing? What tips and tricks can you use with AI? That's another one. So we'll talk about course management. Shelley will talk about AI integrity and accessibility. That's another really large topic right now. And that's it. We'll discuss. We have set aside the last half for discussion. We will not be lecturing this entire time. We just want you to jot down a few ideas. And then at the very end, Shelley will lead us through a dialogue where we can all just share what we thought, what stood out to you, what do you want to try, etc. And feel free to +1 or use emoticons in the chat. Feel free to ask questions. Beth and myself and Nikisha are monitoring the chat throughout. Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to introduce ourselves. So again, I'm Peggy Symingson. Shelley is our summer faculty fellow, and Joseph works in Center for Distance Ed. You'll be hearing from us. And then just a few quick tips in, Work Smarter, Not Harder. Before we start, let me just glance through the chat. So we have Canvas. Heather says Canvas can be time consuming and clunky. So looking for ways to make it more efficient. Robert says interested in more efficient, developing training, extension, and extended campus. So welcome. And then Isabel says Spanish. I usually copy contents from course to course. So that's a good technique, is just reusing and repurposing your own content and that kind of thing. So we're going to emphasize this whole idea of reuse, don't rebuild. So like Isabel said, what can you reuse and repurpose? What kind of assignments don't need a lot of updating? That kind of thing. We're going to lean in on pre-scheduling and automation. So let me ask you all this. How many of you pre-schedule your announcements? You can actually pre-schedule 100% of your announcements through the announcement feature. Yes, so good. If you don't pre-schedule announcements, consider doing that. Yeah, you do now. Okay, good. Those are great. You can have them go out Monday morning and that kind of thing. And then managing time-sensitive content. So we'll talk about that. And then we can go to the next slide. Let's see. Okay, so just reusable design. So how many of you use frequently asked questions? So that's a really easy, low-hanging fruit thing you can do, is just create an FAQ. These are questions that students ask about grades, certain assignments, that kind of thing. general tips. And what you can do is actually if you're open to it, run your syllabus through Microsoft Copilot and ask it to create an FAQ for you for your students, generating what would be the most likely frequently asked questions. And then you can also obviously tweak what AI comes up with. So you can co-author with AI what that FAQ is. Students are used to FAQs, I think. So Isabel and others, I encourage you to look into it, and it can just be a one pager that they glance at, question and answer is the format. So that's one strategy. And then templates. Is there a template you can create in Microsoft or something else that students use for their assignments to kind of guide them? And then you reuse that kind of thing. And then Joseph's going to talk about standardized feedback, where you save your comments in a bank and then reuse them. So you're not sitting there and writing 30 minutes of comments to students when they spend half a second reading it. It depends. I mean, if you're teaching a writing class and you give intensive feedback, that's different. But for most of us, students really want to know their points. They want to know the gist of the feedback. If they lost points, they want to know, but what are ways you can standardize feedback in Canvas? And then the Canvas Commons is another place where you can go to look for other people's work and assignments as instructors and repurpose that. And then we will finally add reusable design from YouTube or LinkedIn Learning. We all have access to that, or Coursera. And I'm going to turn it over to Beth for just a second. Do you want to add anything to any of these reusable design ideas?
No, but these are actually really, really good. The recommendation, though, is to make sure you look at those before you send them out to your students. So if you're going to promote a LinkedIn Learning, or if you're going to promote a Coursera whole module or just a little bit, make sure you do it yourself as well. I'm actually doing one right now just to know what I'm talking about and understanding that. So that's very important. That's just a little side note there.
Bonnie Boardman in engineering replaced all of her textbooks with LinkedIn Learning modules and videos. And so that's an example of, like, you can make your whole class leveraging this type of vendor-based content that we have access to already, micro-credentials, that kind of thing. Yes, students have access to LinkedIn Learning. And so again, Bonnie Boardman is one that she has really taken it and ran with it. But students have access to that link that we just put in the chat. Students can go in and you can create playlists. I think they're called playlists, but you can curate LinkedIn Learning content and leverage that. And then the student, it has everything. It's great. But yeah, definitely try the FAQ. You can just Google, how do I create an FAQ for my class? Hi, Bridezo. Let's see. I think, Beth, you were going to talk about this one, and then we're going to turn it over to Joseph.
Yes. And so to tag off what Peggy was saying, it's definitely important to understand those micro-credentials, because this goes to assignments. I'm a former public education teacher. I did not have time to grade everything. So you be mindful on what your assignments is. And there were assignments that I used to teach that would get multiple purposes out of it. I was scoring the assignment for content, but then also scoring it for the collaboration and scoring it for this. So if you're thinking about your assignments, maybe rethink of it also to get multiple purposes out of it, which can include a micro-credential, so that when the students leave your course, they not only have the course completion, but they're actually building a professional portfolio as well. So consider those type of things. An assignment, make sure you like low stakes. You don't have to grade everything, so just make it low. So you just got to do a check-in and see how they're doing. Exit tickets are always fun, especially if you're doing in person. Little things. It doesn't have to be huge. It can be a small little thing about the muddiest point. What'd you learn? Just a reflection of what you taught, and students catch what you were teaching that day. Game-based learning are always fun. So there's Kahoots. There's a lot of digital software and tools out there that they can engage and actively participate. They can participate in that matter, especially when you have large classes. So this is what we're talking about a lot now, is you're going to have larger classes. Can you still do those things? Yes, you can. You can create little communities within the large classroom where they're working together in a collaboration or sections or in groups and things like that. that. You can use it for attendance tools. You know, there's a lot of things that you can do with that. Make it easier for you. You don't have to, again, work smarter, not harder. Um, do gallery walks for assignments. You know, have your students review each other's and give feedback that way. And then so you're not grading 200. Yes, you are going to grade 200, but you know, their students are going to be looking and giving feedback by peer to peer. And so that actually helps you out a little bit in that as well. So those are some strategies. We are going to continue talking about this as we continue on with summer programming and into the fall. So we want to talk more about that. That's coming. So just let you know. Okay.
We'll pause. Thanks, Beth. We'll pause just for a second. What are your thoughts on any of the ideas so far? Yes, Isabel, go ahead. Okay, we have to unmute you. Okay, I think you should be able to share if you want to unmute yourself.
Hi,
Yeah,
I was
ahead.
trying
Yeah.
to unmute.
Sorry.
Let me put the camera down. I'm here. I wanted to ask suggestions about exit tickets. I've always tried to use exit tickets somehow at the end of my classes. I have 50 minutes and I always feel like I never have enough time. I always feel like we have to rush through everything and all in a sudden it's time to go and I didn't do an exit ticket. Any suggestions?
Okay, so exit tickets are always fun. When I used to observe student teachers in the field, um, they would forget the exit ticket or the closure type of thing, kind of wrapping it all up. So it's you have to be very intentional to put the exit ticket in, and you can create digital exit tickets. Like you throw a QR code up on the screen, and they scan it, and then you just ask it, you know, like one question: what was one thing you learned today, or what was something you'd be surprised what they learned, or what was something that was really confusing, and it's just scan QR code, and they scan it and they can fill it out that way. You can also do exit tickets like if you leverage Canvas, like even if you teach face to face. I used to teach face to face, and I would leverage Canvas, so I would open up something in the Canvas module for that week, and then they would have to write something down or do something that you can do that as well. Then you can time it, so if you run out of time, you know, they can come back in an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours later, or 6 hours, and then you can close it. They can fill something out that way. But I taught one night a week, so it was a 3-hour class versus a 50 minutes twice a week, three times a week, or whatever your schedule is. So it deals a little bit with pacing. You have to be very intentional. I know that advice I have is set a timer on your phone, so that if you have 50 minutes, the timer goes off at like 45 or 47. So you know that you got to get this last little piece out there. And that helps you develop an internal pacing clock. Even though it's really, they could be engaging and fun, but that helps now. Does that help you a little bit?
Yes, thank you very much. And I see people also on the chat, so thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Yes.
I put an example of one of my exit tickets I've done, and I use Microsoft Forms because I can reuse the same form across semesters. And so like I say, what is one idea that stood out to you from the module? What is one idea? Let's see, sorry. The reading for this module was light, about right too heavy, muddiest point. What is something you still want to know or aren't sure about? Comments about the technology, because this was an online class. And then do you have any other comments about this unit, or do you have a resource you would like to share to enhance the learning?
I like that. Have you used those in in-person classes or only on online classes?
Online, but feel free to borrow this one. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And all of that can go in person as well. You can do all of that in person.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just tweak it. Okay. We're going to turn it over to Joseph. We encourage you to keep sharing in the chat. Somebody mentioned A+. Attendance tool offers grading functionality. Great. Excellent. And I'll put a link about the A+ grading in the chat while we turn it over to Joseph.
All right, thank you very much. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some of the features inside Canvas that can help you, again, save time, get your work out quicker. and do some of the things that you may have done before in a different way. Again, just to help you out and see what we can do to I guess, as we were mentioning, saving time. So we're going to look at some of the new AI features. I'm going to show you how to turn those on, because by default, they probably are not going to be turned on in your course. Then we'll look at some options we can find in the SpeedGrader to kind of help you out and get in touch with your students if you need to, and kind of do some things that you would normally do in the gradebook. We'll also look at messaging students from the gradebook that kind of helps you to get in touch with them, to kind of let them know if an assignment's coming up or if they didn't score well or something like that. You can easily find all the students who fit a certain criteria and send a message to everyone. And then we'll also talk about item banks, which are going to be question banks in new quizzes. So you can create an item bank and use those questions in multiple quizzes, in multiple courses. You can share them with other instructors if you'd like as well. So that's going to be one of those things we're going to go ahead and go over. So I'm going to be probably switching off of the presentation and going into Canvas. That's what I'm used to, and probably going to be quicker doing that. So I just went over that page, accidentally sent the same page twice. So the first thing we want to talk about is the new Canvas Ignite AI features. There's insights for our discussions that let you see if the students' responses are relevant or not. There's a rubrics generator for assignments. Basically, whenever you are creating a rubric, kind of one of the big thing is trying to find a criteria you want to base that grade off of or put into that rubric, and then also ways you want to grade that as well. So you need to find certain rating levels and certain, I guess, descriptions that you're looking for on those rating levels, what the students have to accomplish to get a certain grade on those rubrics. Then we'll also look at question authoring for our quizzes. So basically, we're going to input something from the course, whether it's an item in a module or upload a file, and the AI will create quiz questions for you. You can determine whether you want it to be a multiple choice or fill in the blank or whatever type of questions you want them to be. It'll create those questions for you. And then also there's a link here on this page. And again, I'm hoping you guys are going to get a copy of the presentation to a CERTL of video that they went over some of these AI tools. So you guys can be able to watch that as well, get a little more information than what I'm going to give here. So the first thing we want to go into is how to enable these Ignite features inside Canvas. So I'm going to escape out of the presentation here and jump into Canvas and kind of show you what we're going to do here. So basically what we would do is we would go down to settings in your course that I mentioned before, right? You go to the settings in your course, and that's going to take you to your settings page. You're going to want to find the features option tab on the top, scroll down the list, and find your Ignite AI settings. You want to make sure those are turned on. Just put the little green check mark versus a red X on our 3 Ignite options here. Our generator on the rubrics, our insights on our discussions, and our question authoring on our quizzes. And on discussions, if you want to use the Ignite insights, you want to make sure to also turn on enhanced rubrics. This is a rubric feature that we had in Canvas that has, that came in a while back. So that will help you there as well. I believe also, that's the one. I was going to say that there's a discussion one that you don't have to turn that one on. Enhanced rubrics needs to be turned on to use the rubric generator. So, okay. So we have it there. We know how to turn it on. So let's take a look at the first one. So basically what we have here is a discussion board, right? I've created a discussion board. Students have gone through and added their thoughts in their posts, and they replied to other students, all that stuff. So instead of going through and going into SpeedGrader and reading through all the students' responses, I can click on the Go to Insights button right here, and then we'll get something similar to this, where we can search by certain students. Instead of having just a list of all my students, I can search for a specific one. I can sort or filter through responses that are are relevant to the actual topic or are not relevant. I can see them here. I can sort here by our relevance. I can look at the student name. I can see some notes on the evaluation of their responses, the time that they posted. I can click on the first one to take me to the post itself. The second one to take me to the speed grader. The third action over here is to take me into the actual post with all of the other posts and replies. So if the student is replying to someone else, then we can see it inside of the actual discussion where it may be referring to something else and not the actual post itself. So again, the AI will read through all the students' posts, and it will give you whether or not the AI feels it is relevant or not relevant. And again, it gives you some notes on why it feels that way. And again, I can always click on one of my actions here to actually go in and look at that student's response versus taking what the AI tells me. Again, it's a way to help you save some time, but you can still go in there and use it and go to grade from right here. The next thing we want to jump into is creating rubrics. So when we create rubrics, again, this is going to be for assignments only. It's not going to be in our discussions yet. So when I have an assignment inside Canvas, I can, have a title here. What the AI is going to read is your title of your assignment and whatever information you have that the students are going to use for that assignment. So when I select create a rubric, I'm going to get this little create a rubric pop up. Again, this is our enhanced rubric. I'm going to give my rubric a name. I'm going to use the rubric for assignment grading, put that little check mark there. And then if I want to add additional information, I can down here, but I just have to select a grade level, which is going to be, again, our college level, the number of criteria I want, the number of ratings I want, and the total point value for my assignment. And again, it's going to take the information from my assignment that I gave my students, and I click on generate criteria here, excuse me, and then I'm going to get a rubric. It's going to generate a rubric for me. I can see all the criteria that it brought up for me. I have 5 different of them. I can see a title for each one. I can see kind of an explanation to our students. I can see our rating levels, again, what our students have to achieve to earn each one of those rating levels. I have a point value for each one as well. If I don't like a specific one, or if I want to change it, I can click on regenerate, and it'll regenerate and give me a whole different criteria and something here that will fit our new criteria. If I like it, but I want to make changes, I can click on the edit button and I can change things here or there about our rubric or our criteria. And again, this is just one of those things that helps you, because basically when you are creating anything, I don't know whether it's a lesson, an assignment, a quiz, a rubric, looking at that blank paper, looking at that empty box is the hardest part to get over. Once you have something there, something to look at, then you can build off of that. Even if you don't like exactly what it gives you here, you can build off of that, and you can actually, create something that your students know what you're grading them on. And if you don't like the whole thing altogether, you can just click on the regenerate button up here on top, and it'll build a whole new rubric for you. So again, something that really quickly, it built this one for me in like 20 seconds. So again, it's really quickly creates the whole thing and get
Joseph,
that done. Yeah.
Do you mind if we just pause real quick? Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I hate to interrupt you. This is so great. Everyone, this is AI built in, as he said. We already have access to it. I will add a caveat that they were kind of saying this, I don't know how long this will be available, so I recommend using it while it's still there and it's free and integrated and everything. And then, has anyone used this? Just type yes in the chat if you have. Heather had a comment. She says, any idea where there may be AI assisted grading using the rubrics we've created? I don't know about that. That's not available right now.
I don't think so.
other than
I don't think
automated
so.
grading for quizzes that's been
Yeah,
around.
that would be some, yeah, I mean, we have the automated on the quizzes again on the discussion board, like I just showed you. It shows you whether or not the student's response was actually relevant to the question that you asked them or the topic that you posted there. But as far as assignments, if the students upload a file or there's a video or something like that, the AI, the tool's not there yet for the AI to go in and look at that and evaluate the students yet.
Yeah, it might be. Elisa has a question from nursing.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I just wanted to make sure this was being recorded because I
Yes.
was in my car listening to half of it, so I
Yes.
missed, taking notes.
It is, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll put it on the CERTL
Perfect.
YouTube. We'll put this on the CERTL YouTube, and we will also email the slides and the link to the recording.
Okay, terrific. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then, okay, so once we're ready, we can just click on create rubric. It creates the rubric. It adds it onto the assignment. And then again, I'll show you how it looks in a little bit here. So next thing I want to go into is our question authoring. So in our new quizzes, when you go into the build tab, that's where you create our questions, right? We have our little blue plus button here. I select that and I can create the type of question I want, or I can select or generate with AI. And when I do that, I'm gonna get this pop up here and I can select this button here and I can select certain items from modules in my course. So if I have a file in module, if I have a page that has a lot of information, I can select from that as well. I'm not going to do it now because it takes some time to go through and look at the course, but when you select that button, it'll open up and it'll give you a list of all your modules, and they'll have a list of files at the bottom. So if you have files in your course that may not be in modules, it'll still list them there at the bottom so you can grab from there. Or if you have a file on your computer, I can click upload file and upload a PowerPoint or a Word document or a PDF. And again, the AI will read through it and generate questions for you from that source material. I just need to go through and select how we want to grade our students. I can select from certain levels of our Bloom taxonomy hierarchy of learning. I can also go through the depth of learning, right? The depth of knowledge of the student of the topic. And then I can select what type of question. I guess it's only multiple choice right now. But I guess by the way this looks, they're probably going to be adding more. Then I can select the number of questions I want to create off of the information here and the point value for the questions I'm creating. So if I want to have a quiz of, let's say, 50 questions, I can create 5 off of the topic I'm going to put here. Then I'm going to generate the questions and I can come back again, create another 5 off of another set of topics, off another module, off another file, and keep on generating those. So basically what I did is I uploaded a file and I got these two. I asked it to create two questions for me. So it created 2 questions, lets me know what the correct answer is, puts our other options there that our students can actually choose from, and then I can review and edit. I can regenerate if I don't like the questions. Again, but just want to let you guys know this is something to build on, right? This is not something to say the AI did it. It's 100% perfect. I have to use it the way it is. That's not true. What the AI is there for is to help you get started and to help you kind of get through that initial part of having to go in and create questions off of topics or off of things that you have. This is another good thing for where if you teach the same thing every semester, then you can generate new questions every semester and have a different quiz. So you don't have to worry about students saying, students going and grabbing a quiz from last semester or something like that. You'll have a new set of questions every year. So it's a good way to go through and practice. Yeah. And yeah, someone else also mentioned it's a good way to create a practice quiz. So that's a good idea as well.
That was me. I've done lots of those.
The next part I want to go into is our speed grader. So when I'm in the speed grader itself, This is where I can see a student's, where they upload a file, whether there's a video there, whether if it's a quiz or if it's a discussion board. The SpeedGrader pretty much looks the same. Right, we have our couple buttons up here I want to tell you guys about. The first one will take me directly back into the gradebook if I want to use that. The second button, though, I can hide grades if I don't want my students to see the grades or what I'm posting or comments that I'm posting while I'm still grading this assignment. So I can go ahead and hide grades here without having to go into the gradebook, find the actual column, go to through the list of options and select hide grades. I can do that from here. And it'll hide grades from our Speed Center, all the submissions that have already been graded. And then once I hide them, then I can post them from here as well. Another thing that I can do is using my options here inside our SpeedGrader, I can sort the actual submissions by student name, by the submission date, by the submission status. So if I want to see all the ones on the top that I haven't graded yet, I can do that. I can randomize the students, or I can randomize the students, but also have the ones I haven't graded on top, the ones who haven't submitted, right? The ones who are already graded at the bottom, things like that. So again, that's a good thing you can do. You can go in and you can sort. I can hide the student names in the SpeedGrader if I want to have anonymous grading. And I can also, with our discussions, I can view the replies without the rest of the discussion. So I just see the actual replies of the students, not everybody else's reply when I'm looking at an individual student. Or I can show the students' replies in context with the rest of the discussion board. So again, you can change that setting as well, and then just click Save Settings, and your sorted list or your hidden names will be saved.
Joseph, we had a quick question. Do you mind walking through the Ignite AI options for the quiz questions and the rubric?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
back up a little bit.
That's all right. Let me find where we are. So, okay, so we are on the rubric, right? So to create a rubric, first I have to have an assignment, right? Again, we have the rubric's going to look at the title of the assignment.
Oh, do you mind reminding how you turn on the,
okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
the turn
I can
on
do that
part
as well.
Okay.
So to turn them on, to turn on those settings, we want to go to the settings option here in our course menu. When I select that, it'll take me to the settings page. You'll start off on this course details page where you'll see the image and a few other things down here. You want to click on the features option. When I'm in features options, then I have all these features inside Canvas. And we want to make sure for our rubrics, enhanced rubrics is turned on. And then our 3 Ignite AI options are right here. Well, there's more, but the 3 that I'm discussing right now are right here. So we have one that you can easily search for things inside the course. The AI will look for certain topics or lessons or certain keywords if you want inside the course. You can summarize all of the discussions versus seeing all the students' responses and things separately. There's a translation. If you want to do that as well for your students, you can turn on an AI translation tool. So if your students are where English is not a first language, you can do that as well. So just letting you know, there's a few more tools than what I'm talking about, but just need to go ahead and make sure that there's a green circle with a check mark, and that's enabled. If I disabled it, it'll have a red circle with an X in it. So make sure that those 3 AI tools are enabled in the course if you want to use those. Oh, and also the enhanced rubrics for the rubrics. So for the rubrics, again, the rubrics are going to be for assignments only, not for our discussion boards or our quizzes at this time. I haven't heard of them wanting to make them available for the other 2 right now, but for at this point, it's just for assignments. And that AI is going to look at the title of the assignment and the information that you give the students about the assignment. So then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and click on Create Rubric. When I do that, it takes me to the Create Rubric page. Again, I need to give the rubric a name. This is my First Amendment assignment. the type. Do we want a scale where you have rating scales, or do you want to write feedback on your own on each of the criteria? You can do that as well. We can rate by levels or by points. So again, we have our rating levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or by point value. I can do it as well. I can change from high to low to high, right? Have low on the left side, or have high, the highest point value on the left side of our ratings. And then whether this is scored or unscored, whether there's actual points or no points. And then if I want to use this rubric to grade, I need to make sure to select this option to use this rubric for assignment grading. And then what the rubric does, it will look at the information again that we put in there. I can put additional information if I want to if I want to target the rubric to a certain thing. As it mentions here, there are examples to target a college level seminar, or to focus on an argument substance, or be lenient. So again, this is just additional information that the AI will look at when it's creating the rubric. And then select, we have all that information. Again, oh, I should also mention our grade level, our number of criteria, that's the number of items we are going to grade on, the number of rating levels on each of our criteria, and the total points of the assignment. And what it'll do, it'll evenly distribute points between our 5 criteria or our 4 criteria, however many we have here. And I can always go in and I can change the point value. So if I want one to be, like 50 points and another to be 20 points, I can edit it after it has gone in and created it and created the rubric. I'm sorry. So once I have all that information in there, I can also use a grade range versus a point value, and I'll show you what I mean here a little bit. And then just click on generate criteria. And again, it reads the information from the assignment. So the assignment needs to be detailed. The information that you give the students needs to be there. So when you do that, I'll let that run, but I already have one here. Oh, did I close that? Oh, here we go. I already have one here. So this is where I can go in and look at it. Again, it built the rubric for me, right? I see our first criteria, our second criteria, an explanation of what the first criteria is looking for, and then our grading levels, right? What we are going to evaluate the students on, whether they get an exceptional, a proficient, a developing, or an insufficient rating on our criteria. Our criteria is 20 points, and since I use the range, I can give the students anywhere between 20 and 13.323 points for our first level here. I can edit this if I want to go in and change little things here. I can click on the little pencil button and edit that. I can change the name of the criteria, our description, the points, as I mentioned, if I want to give this one a higher point value versus a lower point value. I can disable the range and just have a pure point value for each one, or a range where I can give students a grade anywhere between, like I said, 20 and 13.33, or 13.33 and 667, or I can change this. Maybe I want this to be, 15 points, and this to be 10 points, and this to be 5 points. So I can give anywhere from 20 to 15, 15 to 10, 10 to 5, and 5 to 0 points for any one of these rating levels. I can change the name of the rating. I can edit and change our description. Again, the AI is just there to get you started, right? So you can build on, if you like the way it looks and you want to use it exactly as is, you're good to go. You can do that. But what I want to say is the AI is there to help you to get started, right? What do you want to grade on? Again, if you don't like this one here, then I can just click on the regenerate button and it'll regenerate and give me a new criteria and a new description and new options down here in our ratings as well. Once we've gone through and we're happy with it, select our create rubric button, and then it'll add this rubric to the assignment. So now my rubric is here. I can preview it there and see the way it looks like here. Then when I go to an assignment, I believe I have an assignment here. Yes. When I go to an assignment, I can see my rubric here. And one of the cool things with the new rubrics is I can change the mode that I view it as. Instead of a traditional mode like this, I can change it to a horizontal view, where I can see our rubric, what do you want to call it? Our criteria, and I can select the rating level. I can leave a comment right there. Again, our second criteria, rating levels, or I can go vertical and see the first criteria, right, 3210, leave comment, our second criteria, 3210, leave a comment. And then I really don't have to scroll out as much on my bar here. I can still see the paper clearly and save our information here. Was that clear enough on the rubric? I can go, anything else if anybody else had another question before we move on to the next one? Anything else? Bueller? No?
Oh, I have a quick
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah, sure.
Someone, and I know I read this somewhere, and Ken, you might just Google around. They were making some of these features free for a limited time and then others for an extended time. Joseph, do you know anything about those?
I do not.
Timeline?
Unfortunately, I'm
Okay.
not on that side. I'm just
Okay.
on the showing you guys how to use stuff available.
Okay.
So right now, these are available. One thing I could tell you, if this does go away, we do have our Conmigo tool.
Yeah.
And that, let me kind of pull this out here.
It's a good one.
There's a lot of different tools there. We have a rubric creator, rubric generator, which does pretty much the same thing. We have create a multiple choice quiz. We can create essay questions. I can create a letter of recommendation, exit tickets. I can create, if I give the AI a topic, it can create an assignment for me. It can create a discussion prompt, a lesson hook, a real world. One thing I like here is the real context generator. Excuse me. So if you have a topic and you want to find a way to bring that topic into the real world, right, so your students get a better understanding of that topic, the AI will try to find a way to bring that to our students to make it relevant to them in the world that they live in. So there's a lot of little options here that you can choose. You can create a lesson plan, all these things. You can also, there's one here to make Leveler. It'll adjust the text to make it understandable to somebody who maybe is, for example, if I enter Shakespeare in there and I want to make it available to somebody who's a 10th grader, I can do that, and it'll make the words easier to understand, the text easier to understand for somebody at a 10th grade level. So again, just one of those things that the AI can go through and do a lot of things for you. And the Conmigo tool is available inside of your courses. Let me find here. There should be a link inside your courses, our Conmigo teacher tool. If it's not there, again, you want to go down to the settings. This time you want to be in the navigation area. And all these tools are the tools that match what you have here. So you would just go down, find the Conmigo tools, select the 3 dots and enable that tool. It's already enabled in my course, so it says disabled. But if you enable that tool and select save, then it'll be available in your course. So again, those are free. So, but as far as the other ones right now, they are free as well.
Yeah.
So just let you guys know.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, didn't mean to derail.
No, that's okay.
We just
That's
have
okay.
a little more time. Yeah, we have about 7 more minutes, Joseph, and then we'll do questions.
So let me jump in. You guys wanted to talk about the question creator as well, right? So basically, what I would do is when I'm building a quiz, right, I can click on the little X right there. I can generate my question with AI. I'm going to select a topic from the course. So I would select there. Again, it's going to take its time to go through the course, look at all the modules, look at all the files, and then give you stuff that you can select to where you want to choose from. And so again, I can, select, here's a PowerPoint that I had. So if I'm selecting files, I can only do one at a time. But if I'm doing pages in my course, then I can select multiple. So what I can do is I'm just going to go ahead and select our single file up here. And I would, again, but again, it has all of your modules, right? I scroll down, see all of them down there. And then at the bottom, keep going. I just have files, all the files in my course. I even have like multiple ones. I've uploaded the same files over and over again. But again, you know, you can see all the files that you have in your course and select a file there as well. I put the select button to bring that information in. Here's my, here's the PowerPoint I have in my course. I can paste text there instead if I don't want to find something from a module, I can just paste text there. I can upload a file. I can put a topic focus if I want. So if I want to focus on a certain thing in that text or that information, I can do that. Under more options, again, we were talking about we can select our level of the Bloom's taxonomy hierarchy. We can even select what we want to quiz them on the depth of knowledge, right? And again, it's multiple choice questions. You can select, create up to 5 questions at a time, add a point value to those questions, and generate the questions. Again, I'm not going to wait for the AI to do that, but and then you'll see something similar to this, where you'll see the questions, you'll see the answer choices it gives you. Again, if I don't like them, I can regenerate the questions again, or I can go in and edit them if I want to change maybe just one of these options down here. I want to change that because I didn't like that one. I can click on edit. And I can, you know, edit one of these questions if I want. Or if I want to reword the question itself, I can do that as well. And then just click edit review, takes you there, you save it, and then it'll add those questions to the quiz. Did that help the person who had questions? If not, just either raise your hand or add something in chat. If not, I know we're running late, so I want to go ahead and move on to the next item. The next thing I want to talk about is when you're inside of the SpeedGrader, we do have our comment section down here. And what a lot of people may use it for is to say, you know, hey, you did a good job. You know, let students know what they need to work on a little bit more or what they missed. But another thing that you can use it for is to have a discussion with your students. It's like a messaging system with your students. So I went over here and I asked the student, hey, I have a question about your submission. I noticed right? Then the student, when they log in, either when they're on their dashboard or in live course, there's a little recent feedback button here that they can click on and it'll take them directly to it. So they can click on that and look at the feedback in their submission. And they can see, right, and they responded back to the instructor, yes, I understand when I reached the topic, and the instructor responded back, you know, thank you. So again, you can use this as a conversation with the student if you have questions on the submission. If you want, you don't just have to use that that comment area or that feedback area as a good job or as a critique of what they submitted. You can also use it as a conversation starter with our students. And talking about our conversations, from the SpeedGrader, you can also message students as well. So if you have an assignment in the SpeedGrader, I would select our 3 dots here, and I can message students who, quote unquote, and have not submitted yet, right? Maybe our due date is coming up tomorrow and there's 2 or 3 students in your course who haven't submitted yet. I can send an email to them who have submitted, or students who have not been graded yet, or students who scored less than a certain grade, right? Maybe you want to see if they need help, if they didn't understand the topic. And then whenever you select it, it'll let you know the number of students. I can see all their names here if I want, and it'll send a separate message to each one of those students. So student 1 doesn't know that student 2 scored under a 65 as well, right? So, or that doesn't know that they haven't submitted the assignment yet. And then I can come down here and I can just type in my message, select send, and it will send them an email in the Canvas email, but that also goes to their MyMav mail. If they respond back to you, it goes to your UTA mail. It'll also be inside Canvas as well. So again, you can respond back after the initial message from the MyMav mail or your UTA mail. So again, something if you want to contact students quickly, you can do it from there, from the gradebook. Another thing I wanted to talk about next, was item banks. Peggy, do we have time to go over item banks? It's 12:51. At least on my computer it is.
Yeah, just take a couple minutes and then we'll get wrapped up.
Okay, so I want to go over the item banks. Basically, what item banks are a group of questions that you can use in multiple quizzes. Let's say you want to create a quiz number 1, quiz number 2, quiz number 3, and take questions from those quizzes and have them on the midterm. I can do that. And that's what our item banks are. So when I select item banks, it'll take me and show me the item banks that I have, right? I have these 2 item banks in this course. I may have item banks that have been shared from other courses. I can do it as well. So by default, the item banks are only available in the one course you built them in. But if you have different sections of the same course, I can always use the share button, and I can share with, if I select courses up here, when you click here, you'll see what's the word? What's it called? You'll see a list of your courses here. I'm an admin, so I have to enter the name of the course because either that or I'll see everybody's courses. So you'll see your list of your courses here. You can select that there. You can select whether or not the instructor or you, if that's your other course, whether you can edit the bank in that course as well. And then click add, and then it'll add that, it'll share the item bank with that other course again. So if you want to create a quiz in one course and then add those questions to another course, you can do that as well. I can look at the quiz question here by clicking there. I can see the questions that I already have in that bank. I can create new questions with the new button up here. And I'm just going to, edit these or build these the way I would build them in a regular course, right? When I select new, I get the options that I had in our quiz. If you want to add the AI questions into a bank that you created, I'm just going to create a quick question here. Well, where were we here? Our questions here. Let me edit and review, and I'm going to save these. Okay, I'm going to save it next. Okay. So I'm just going to keep them as is. I'm going to save them into my course here. Come on, add to quiz. There we go. Okay. So what I can do is I can click on the pencil option for these questions. And there is an item banking here. I can click there, add this question to a bank. I can add them to an existing bank. Or I can add, again, you'll see your list of your banks there. Or you can create a new bank and just give it a new title, and it'll save that set of questions together, right? And then I click add, then I go to the next question, edit, to the bottom, item banking, add to bank, right? Select the bank from your list, select add, and just keep going. So again, on those AI questions, you can create a bank of those as well. And then when you want to add questions to the course, to a quiz, I can do that from my plus sign with my little bank button up here, or with my item bank button here. You'll get your list of item banks. You'll have your list of item banks here that are in the course or shared with the course. I can select the bank I want to use, and I can use the plus sign to add individual questions, right? I can scroll through and open this up so I can see the full question itself. And I can add individual questions with a plus sign, or I can say I want to add all of them. So this will add all 51 questions, if I can do that. Or if I go to the bottom, oh, sorry, all random. I did that good, okay. So now when I'm here, I can see all my questions here. Oh, these are the first 2 I created. Here's the bank I just added, right? So I can select my pencil and say, do I want to give the students all 51 questions from that bank? Or do I want to randomly select, let's say, 20 questions, right? And make them 5 points each. So that way each student gets a separate 20 questions, right? Because they're just picked out randomly from that 51. So again, then I can click done. And, or if I want to select, 5 questions from one bank, 5 questions from another bank, 5 questions from another bank like that, I can do that as well. The banks can have as many questions as you want. I don't have to bring all 10 or all 20 or all 30 questions into the quiz from the bank. I can select random questions from those item banks into my quiz. So you're basically giving a different quiz to every student, but every student has a chance of getting the same question. So you're not really giving them different quizzes, you're just giving them different questions. But you're quizzing them on the same topics. And then when you're done, select done, and there we go. We have our 2 AI generated questions up here and our bank questions down here. And click on return, and our quiz is saved, and we are good to go. So again, something that we can do on the banking, it just saves you time on building the questions once. You can share them in different courses. You can use those questions again to use on a final, to use on a midterm, to use in a different semester. And again, our AI tool, you can add in information into it, and you can regenerate questions every time. So every semester, your quiz questions are different, and your students can't share quizzes from one semester to the next because you're giving them different questions every semester based off the same topics, based off the same information, but the AI is creating questions for you.
Well, thank
I
you
mean,
so
that's
much.
all I was going to have for today, Peggy. I
Okay.
know I took up
No,
all your
you're good.
time.
And then please feel free to follow up with Joseph. Christine says, can you copy a quiz built in the old quiz format into the new quiz format?
Yes, you can. I can show you that real quick. It's very quick and easy. It may take Canvas a minute, but it's not difficult to do. So when you're in your quizzes area, you'll notice that new quizzes are dark green, classic quizzes are white outlined in green. If they're not published, they're going to be white outlined in black. New quizzes not published are just black rocket ships here. So what I want to do is, and I already did it with these two, you can see here, but what I want to do is I want to get my quiz. Here's one here. Here's a classic quiz. I want to click on my 3 dots, and I want to migrate. So when I migrate, it'll create a new quiz for my classic quiz. And then we'll see the new one down here. It's migrating our online quiz that I created up here, and that will be a new quiz. And then you can create questions, edit from there, and be ready to go.
Awesome. Okay, I think we're going to wrap up. Shelly, I'll turn it over to you. And thank you. Let's give a round of applause for Joseph and all his fine knowledge.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And join us for our next 3 sessions, but Shelly will talk more.
And I know it got pushed up, but I put my my contact information in the chat.
Perfect.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Joseph. That was very informative, very helpful for all of us. Yeah, I'll just highlight our upcoming sessions this summer. We only have 4. This was the first of 4. So our next one is June 17th from noon to 1. You can register there. And I think Peggy also put it in the chat. Then we have Teaching Smarter, Not Harder with Pedagogy on Campus Teaching Focus. And then the last one we have is July 29th, Teaching Smarter, Not Harder. And that's going to be a summer reading, listening, and idea exchange, again, from noon to 1. So we hope that you all will join us for those sessions as well. And then finally, I believe we also have in the chat, but you can scan this QR code, our feedback survey for today. So we thank you all for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you on the 17th.
Please share the slides. Yeah, I think we had one more thing about our microlearning library. If you're still with us, the microlearning library is brand new. It has great topics. Each micro credential for faculty focuses on a really cutting edge topic from the Online Learning Consortium. And you can learn about AI. There's all micro credentials. There's all kinds of topics. It's in a Canvas shell. So we'll put the link in the chat, and we'll be sending out more information in our newsletter today. So we encourage you to check out the microlearning library. And they're under an hour for each module. So that's it. We appreciate you all for joining us. Thanks, Dr. Wigley, too, for guiding us. And thanks again to Joseph from Center for Distance Ed. And keep us posted if you try these and you like these ideas. And please, again, share, spread the word about CERTL.
Bye.
Thanks, Shelley.